Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. On my Instagram account, I had somebody ask me how I measure and cut out panels for kind of weird shapes like this in the back, as you can see. So I wanted to give you a quick rundown of that. So it's actually pretty simple. It's basically just a couple steps. I draw it out on a piece of paper. I write down my measurements. I go cut my panel, test fit it, make adjustments if needed, and that's pretty much it. So when I look at a panel like this, it's got all these weird shapes down here. The first thing I do is draw out the shape of the panel. As you can see, that's what I did. And then I measured how tall I need it first, from the ceiling all the way to the floor. And that was 77 5/8. So that is that measurement right there. And then I measured how wide it is, which was 27. Now I have two bins on this one. I have one right here, one right there, and then one right there. So the first thing I did was measured how much it is from here to here where this first bend is. Now let me show you what that looks like on the panel over here. Okay, so when I come down here, we already know that from this point to this point is 27 inches. So what I need to know is what this point is to this point right here where the bend starts, because the bend starts there and goes all the way up, and then there's another point right there. So from right here to right here ends up being 19 1/2. And so that is what I have on my piece of paper, 19 1/2. Now the next thing I need to know is what is this right here. So I got my tape measure and I measured from this point right here to this point right there, and it ends up being 10 inches. So I wrote down 10 inches. And as you can see, I didn't measure this part right here, and that's because it doesn't really matter what that is as long as this point and this point are correct. So the next thing I need to do is figure out what this angle is right there. Now there's a million ways you can do this, but the way that I have found is by using this little jig right here. This is actually, I use this for measuring angles for my table saw, so I can put it up against my blade and angle my blade which way I want. You can find these at any hardware store sells these. So what I did was, my flat part goes against the panel. I slid it all the way up and basically just kind of eyeballed it what I thought that angle was right there. And then I took that and I put it over on my panel, slid it up, and as you can see, the angle matches up there. It's flat on that side, and then this only goes to, I think, like 7 inches. So from my top part right here, I measured down 10 inches. And then same thing right here. I basically, this is 19 1/2 right there. So I took this point and I drew it over to that point and drew a straight line and cut it out. And that is pretty much all there is to that. So let me show you kind of a test fit of it. And I actually made this long enough to where it can tuck up in the trim right there, but you don't have to do that. So I have a bunch of clamps down here at the bottom, but as you can see, fits pretty good. There's a little space at the bottom, so I can slide it up into this trim piece right here, and then it sits nice and flush along this framing right there. Now for a panel like this right here, it's a little different. Basically all I do for that is measure how tall I need it and how wide I need it, and then I just stick the whole panel up here. I don't worry about cutting a hole for the window. I don't do any of that. My reasoning is I get the panel up there, and there's actually a foam outline in the window right here, and I can get my router with my flush trim bit and just stick my router in there and go bzzz, and it cuts the hole for me pretty much. So it's just kind of an easy way to do windows if you have a special area like that. And that's pretty much it. I use my circular saw to cut it out with a saw guide. You can see all more details of that. I have another video on repairing walls for water damage. So if you don't know how to do that, I kind of laid out how to cut it out in there, and there's a video on that too. So anyway, like, subscribe, comment if you got questions, and let me know if there's something else y'all want me to make a video on. Have a great day.